Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a project that is very easy to do, and it's actually a really common project as well. But the nice part about it is you can spend very little in material and definitely make some money back. It's a project that I've sold quite a few of and have always done very well on them, and that is these Cedar Planter Boxes. They take very minimal time to make, and you can batch them out really easy. I made about 5 of these within a 2-hour period, so it actually goes really well. You can always get a good return, and it's especially great for that spring summer transition when everybody's looking to plant their flowers. These particular boxes are designed to fit a hanging basket inside of it with the hook removed, so that way you don't actually have to put soil in, but you can put the soil in as well. So it's a great project. You can definitely make some money on this one, but it's also super fun to build. In addition to that, I've done a couple of other things that go beyond some of what a lot of the other YouTubers do with these boxes, and it's not that they do it wrong by any means. But I secure it in an additional way, and even though it's cedar, which is a rot resistant wood, I've also added some waterproofing to it. So stay tuned until the end, and I'll show you exactly what I use to treat these boxes at the end. That's going to make them last for a really long time, and it's completely non-toxic. All right, let's get building. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of our fence pickets and we're going to cut 4 of the 13¼ inch pieces on here. And what that's going to do at the end is that's going to leave us just enough room to be able to cut 1 of the 12-inch pieces that we're going to need. So these 2-dimensional pieces are what are going to form the box. So the best thing that we're going to do is cut all of the pieces in advance, just to make it a lot easier on ourselves, so that way we can just go right to assembly. And this is an easy way for you to batch all of this stuff out and get these done a lot faster. On the second picket here, what we're going to do is we are going to cut 3 more of the 12-inch pieces, so that way we've got those done. And then after we've cut those 3 pieces, the last big chunk that's remaining, which you can see right here, we're going to cut these pieces at 16¾ inches, and we'll have 2 of them with a slight little bit of a cut off in the middle as well, and those are going to become our legs. All right, so let's do a little bit of a recap here. So here we've got 2 pieces that are 16¾ inches long. We're going to be ripping these pieces down to make the 4 legs that are going to be 2 inches in width. So we're going to rip those down on the table saw. We're going to have essentially we're going to have 4 pieces that are 2 inches, and we're going to try and use the outer edge, and then we're going to have some other pieces that are 1 3/8. The reason for that is because these legs are going to butt up against each other, similar to this. So we want it to be 2 inches here and 2 inches here. So we've got that done. All right, and we might need to rip a couple more, but we're gonna see how it goes. We've got our 13¼ pieces. So our 13¼ is going to form the actual box along with our 12-inch pieces. So we've got 4 of each. The reason we do 13¼ is because by the time we take away this distance and this distance, so the thickness of each of these pieces, which is 5/8, we're now left with a 12-inch square even on all sides. So that's the reason why we need 4 at 12 inches and 4 at 13¼ Okay, so as you can see, with our 16¾ inch long pieces, we do have to go and rip them down now. I did have to cut down 2 more. That was completely my mistake. I forgot that we're going to need them. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of our pieces and we're going to rip them at 2 inches. And then we're going to take 2 additional pieces, and we're going to rip them at about 1 3/8 of an inch. That way they're going to be nice and even. So let's get to it. Okay, so now we've got our 4 pieces, and our 4 pieces that are at a 2-inch thickness. Okay, so keep in mind we've got the round edge here because when we want the round edge, because we're going to be lining them up like this. So that way it gives a nice tight fit on the corner, but we've got a round edge here and a round edge here to give it a little bit of style. So we've got the 4 of those. These here, we're going to save these as well because these pieces here that are the cutoffs in between these are going to be what we use for the base inside the planter box. So we want to keep those. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move our saw fence to 1 3/8, and we're just going to double check that to be sure, which we are good. And now we're going to cut our last 2. All right, so now we've got these 2 pieces here left over, which we're going to use in combination with these, and that is going to form our base. So once you've got these, just set those aside. As you can see here, we now have our 4 pieces at 1 3/8. We've got our 4 pieces at 2 inches, and this is what's going to make our leg by going like this. Okay, and just to show you so you get an idea, we now have 2 inches here and we have 2 inches here. So now we're perfectly square, and when we secure these together, we're going to get a nice clean joint and a square edge. All right, so very similar to before, we're now going to rip down for our top frame. I'm going to rip that top frame at 1 1/4 inches thick. We're going to do something very similar. We want this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge. That way we get that nice rounded edge on the outside. Once we have these ripped down, then we're going to do our 45 miters, and then we're going to secure that frame together and go from there. So let's get these ripped down. All right, so now we've got our frame ripped down. We just have to do our miters. We've got 2 more pieces left. Again, we're going to use these for the bottom, so don't get rid of them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we've got to cut our 45s. All right, so we're going to look at doing that on our on the table saw, and I'm going to use the miter gauge for this. I know I could use the miter saw, but I find that I get a lot better angles on this. This is just my my Anchor V27 miter gauge, and then the fence that I made for it. So I've got a 15-inch long piece here, and I've got my stop block set to about 13 5/8, which should be roughly where this needs to stop in order to get this 45-degree cut to match up at the corner. But another way that you can test this is to run it up close to the blade, okay? And you can put this piece on the inside, and so just so you can kind of get an idea, press it up against the teeth, and that's roughly where it's going to cut. And so it's not quite at the corner, but this is 1/8 of an inch, so it's going to be close. There is a good chance that I'm going to have to bump this down 1/8 of an inch to 13.5 inches in order to cut this 45-degree, but let's give it a quick try, and let's see how it lines up. So if you can see this, we've got that little bit of a flat edge on there, and so that means it's not quite where it needs to be. And so this is why I like to do it a little bit bigger first. So I'm going to take my stop block and I'm going to move it 1/16 of an inch, which is going to be 13 9/16. And we're going to try this again, take off a little more. So if we look at this now we've got a nice clean edge there, so we know that our setting for these pieces is going to be at the same spot, and they're all the same length, so it's going to make this nice and simple. So we're going to go ahead and cut the one side, and we'll flip it over and do the same thing. And so as you can see, now this being cedar, it does chip, but we're right where we want to be, so which is good. Now we're going to run through the other 3 pieces. And that's it. Now we've got our pieces nice and mitered, and now we get to begin assembly. All right, so now that we've got our miters all done, we need to assemble these things. So we're going to assemble this entire box with 2 different things. We're going to be using wood glue. Now this is an outdoor box, so because it's an outdoor box, I typically use a Gorilla wood glue. Gorilla wood glue is very similar to a Tight Bond Type 2. It is intended for outdoor as well, so we can use it. I've been using it for outdoor stuff for a long time, and I've never had an issue. So we're going to be putting glue in every single joint, but we're also going to be using brad nails to tack it together. Now, because of the thickness of this stuff, I've opted to use a 1-inch brad nail only, which is what I'm going to load in my my nailer here. So I've got a whole bunch of them. Okay, so the 1-inch works really well. It's going to help hold it together. And how we're going to secure this is a quick bead of glue. We don't want squeeze out on this project. Okay, but we're going to put a quick bead of glue in there. We're going to put a nail in. If we're getting a squeeze out, we're going to use our wet rag to clean it up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble the legs. Remember, sharp on a corner. We want our cut sides laminated together and our round edges on the outer part of the leg. Okay, so this one is very simple. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this one leg. I'm going to run a bead of glue down the center like that. We're going to lay it down, and then we're going to line up the edges to one of the 2-inch pieces. And then I'm just bringing this to the edge of my workbench, and then we put a nail in it to tack it in. I'd put about 4 nails in the length. And there we go. There is one of our legs. Again, we've got a little bit of squeeze out, so let's wipe that out. There we go. So there's one. Now we repeat this 4 times. And there we go. There's our 4 legs done. So now that we've got 4 legs done, we're going to move on to the box assembly. We're going to set our 12-inch pieces aside. We're going to start with our pieces that are 13
and 1/4 inches. Now, an important thing, make sure whatever side lines up, assuming both sides should be flush, but if one side's a little bit off, make sure that side's on the top and the flush side is going to be on the bottom. Okay, so what we're going to do here is first of all, we want to orientate our legs in the same direction, just like this. And all we're gonna do is, this part's very simple, is we're gonna put a bead of glue in here and then we're gonna nail it from the inside so you won't even see it from the outside. Okay, so this part is very, very simple. But because of the distance, we're gonna put a little bit of extra glue just for security. Okay, and tip, take a piece at the end, press your legs up against it, then pull the board for the side wall up against it, then tack one in. Okay, do the exact same thing on the other side. I mean, you can clamp this together if you want to, but there's really not much need. Okay, so now you can go ahead and put about 3 brad nails. All right, ultimately the glue is going to be holding this in place. Okay, let's grab our next piece. We're going to put a bunch of glue in there. Again, you can be generous with it. You don't need a ton, but you don't want to have only a tiny little bit either. So I'm going to spin this to me. Just to help this out, I'm going to squish it just by pulling it towards me. Nice and easy. Just like that. There's one side of that planter box done. Okay, and just look all around. We got a little bit of squeeze out on the bottom here, which is not the end of the world, but we'll go ahead and wipe that off. So now we can set that piece aside. And now we're going to do the exact same thing with the other pieces. They look good. So there we are. There we have side number 2. Again, we've got a little bit of squeeze out, so we're just gonna feed our cloth along the inner edge and get rid of some of that. And now we're going to assemble these sides together. So to assemble the sides together, we're going to be taking our 12-inch pieces here, and essentially we're going to be putting them on the inside just like that, and of course gluing them in place. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead first and put some glue in here, and I'm going to put a little bit on the end also. Now, I did get a little bit too much on there, which is fine. It's not the end of the world, so probably just going to have some extra squeeze out to wipe off, but that is really not a problem. And there we go. There's our box. Spin it around a little bit. Doesn't look like we've got any issues with any glue seeping out, so that's good. So we are almost done. Now there's a couple other things we've got to do. So there's one very important cut we've got to make that I forgot about. So I said we were putting a bottom in this. Well, we need 2 of these that are 12 inches long. And the reason is because that's what our, I guess, floorboards, for lack of a better term, are going to sit on top of. So for these strips here, it's entirely up to you as to where you want to put them. They're 12 inches long, so they can go on any of the 4 sides. I like to put them on top of the piece that is 13 1/4. Now these here, these are about 1 1/16, so 1 inch and 1/16 thick. And we're going to put these in here and line them up with the bottom, because then we're going to put strips going this way that we're also going to cut at 12 inches. So just like everything else, we're going to first put a bead of glue on here. Again, doesn't have to be a ton, although I did put a lot on that one. We're going to kind of press it down there, and same thing. And there we have it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these pieces here and we're going to cut these down to 12 inches. Now, here's where this can vary a little bit, and it's entirely up to you. But we can put these on the inside going this way, and I would normally only put 2 of these. But that's because I'm putting hanging baskets in here, like with the pot and everything. So it only needs to sit on top of 2 of these. If you're going to be actually putting a liner in this and filling it with soil, then you're probably going to want to cover this all the way across. And after you cover it all the way across, you're going to need to put some holes in it and whatnot to allow for proper water drainage. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. But for what we're doing, we're just going to stick with what we were doing. So we've got these pieces and these pieces. Let's go cut these down to 12 inch, and then we're going to put them back in. Now it's entirely up to you as to how you want to secure these in here. So out of all of this, got our 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. What I prefer to do with these is I'm going to set them inside here. And funny enough, these are actually going to come very close to covering the entire bottom, so you might be able to use these. But I'm going to put one on the side here, it kind of squishes in. These other ones, I'm just going to kind of spread them out a little bit. And I'm not going to secure those. The reason I'm not going to secure those is because in the event that they get rotted or they have to be replaced or anything like that, I want to make sure that I can just pull the pieces out and go from there. All right, next what we're going to do with this, we're going to take our frame and we're going to secure our frame to the top. And it's literally going to be as simple as this. That's it. It's already secured. It's already glued, right? So we've already done all of that stuff. So now we glue it and we nail it just like everything else. So that about wraps it up for this build. This planter box, made out of cedar. It's Western red cedar. It is so simple to make. We made it out of a total of 3 fence pickets. So that is a picket that's about 5/8 of an inch thick. It's 5.5 inches wide and it's about 6 feet long. So we used 3 of those for this entire project. We were able to do all of the cuts in advance and pile everything up and then just do all the assembly at once. So it makes it nice and easy. This is a box that's going to last for a long time. As soon as the glue dries, then this thing is going to be solid as a rock, and we've got the nails there to back it up. Now, typically, I know we don't have to do this with cedar, but I would typically do it anyway. So cedar is very rot resistant, but what I typically add onto it is a water guard as well that I'll put in my paint sprayer when I do these. I'll take it outside and I'll coat these just with a coating of water guard to help the water bead off and to help the cedar actually shed a lot of that moisture and last a little bit longer. So it works really well, and it's non-toxic stuff, so it's very easy to use. Now, this here, you can really build this in any size. So I've built this for hanging flower baskets. You could build this bigger, smaller scales. It really doesn't matter. You can build this 4 feet wide if you want to, so long as you put some center reinforcement in it, then you'll be good. But it is a super easy project, so don't be afraid to try it. It's about $30 for these cedar fence pickets, at least in Canada, because believe it or not, they're $10 a piece here, which is pretty crazy. And then outside of the lumber, all you need is some glue and a brad nailer, and then you've got a table saw and a miter saw. So it's very, very simple. Okay. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button and to subscribe to this channel. So we are Weekend Woodworking, but my woodworking company is Timber Designs, and so you'll notice that the page has been renamed to Timber Designs as well. Okay, so don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and shove a comment in there if you've got a comment about this or about anything else really, or you've got suggestions, or just want to chat. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Throw something in the comment box, and we'll talk to you next time.